decided that that position ought to be handled. I think they made certain changes within their structures, and that position now needed to be handled by a judge. So I was replaced by my Lord Justice Mabea. But I have been chair since its inception, and court user committee is about stakeholder engagement. It's about, first of all, mapping out the stakeholders and having clear outcomes. In this position, as court user, as a chair, national chair of the court user committees, first it was something that was achieved through the Kenya Magistrates and Judges Association, so that I don't take credit for the fact that I became the first chair by default. But we were the institutional memory of how the institution of the judiciary operates. We realize the judiciary is not alone. When we get the flack for things that are going wrong, sometimes it's not ours. It is because certain stakeholders and critical partners and actors within the justice chain don't operate properly. So stakeholder engagement is actually my greatest strength. We'll be able to map out who are our clear and direct stakeholders, right from those from where we source our mandate and funding, and ensuring that we have representation from all sectors in the electoral players. This also includes having direct links with the strategic groups, particularly those special groups like persons with disability, persons with women and on gender, not just women. It's about gender, to have a gender reflection, having involvement of the youth. And now that this country has a huge youth purge, I think it's important for us to have that type of stakeholder, and also now have also stakeholders from voter educators, have stakeholders from observer missions, observers, both local, international, and sometimes individual, and then also have stakeholders from those who provide services to us. These are critical. Those will be providing services to the IEBC. That will even include the legal service providers, those who will be doing the printing, not necessarily those who will be doing the printing, but from where we will now be able to obtain our materials and day-to-day running and operations. So mapping out the stakeholders and reflecting on them, on their impact and our involvement with them. So it's very critical.
Well, thank you very much.
And thank you for the question, madam.
How will you structure your engagement with stakeholders?
I have had a glimpse of the IEBC stakeholder engagement operation, and I think they are on the right track, in the sense that we have the identifying. First of all, it's identifying stakeholders from the processes of the mandate of the IEBC. And the mandate of IEBC, besides election, also includes the boundaries and delimitation. So we structured from pre-election and the election and after the election. So it's important for us to structure them along those lines, so that we don't have just stakeholders joining, but they are of no relevance at that particular time. So pre-election, one of the critical areas I think will be like for example, let me take an example of the judiciary as the critical stakeholder of the IEBC, is to prop up judges and magistrates and prepare them, and so that they are able to be prepared for the election processes as they come. One, we have pre-election, we have election offences, we have cases that may come earlier in time, and then prepare them on the laws. And then critical aspect also would be what laws are available. Having a parliament as a critical stakeholder, and how you engage with them on that. So it's just structuring them around pre, during, after elections, and then also on the services.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask the Honourable Member Nicodemus Bore to also engage you kindly.
Thank you very much, Honourable Lorot. I've seen you have a long span of service at the judicial service, and we would like to know whether you have had an experience of conflict on ethical issues, and how you have managed to handle it during your time of service.
Thank you very much. It is reported when I appeared before the Judges and Magistrates Vetting Board, I reported, and I think I even had the judgment then, an advocate. I was handling a simple matter, I think, when I was in Milimani Commercial Court, and I think an advocate approached me in my chambers and said that he has been sent by his client, and I did not let him speak. I told him it was pending ruling before me. The next day, so I asked him that he appears in court the next day, so that I read the ruling. He didn't appear. I forced him to appear, and in my ruling, I specifically mentioned that he had approached. And the most, I think, interesting part is that his client won the matter, and one of the penalties I gave the client was I did not award costs to the client because of that infringement, and I reported the matter to the Law Society of Kenya. So I'm very strict about my integrity. I think in my career, I have a very good wife. One of the things she has told me is that I should never come home with corrupt money, because that will affect my children and everybody else.
A second question would be, having been, from what I've seen from your CV, yes, you are a chief magistrate.
Yes.
And there must be cases that are political in nature. And is there a time that we have had political pressure on or social or financial that could compromise your judicial decisions?
No, I think the clear cases of this nature that you mentioned happened to me when I was in Machakos. I handled a very contentious case involving the procurement, which was the first procurement by the county government immediately after the transition authority, and I think the county government procured second-hand vehicles, and through process that also involved the Commission on Administrative Justice and others, and the EACC, they charged certain individuals before me. And I just handled it as a normal case. You would see the information in the papers appearing every time, but it is an ordinary case that is before me. I'm supposed to make the determination based on the law and everything that comes before me. This is the type of person that I am, and this is the type of person that I'm presenting before this panel.
Thank you very much.
Professor Adam Solo, kindly will you also ask some questions?
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Lorot, both in your oral presentation and from your CV, it is clear that you served as a commissioner of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the ethnic clashes in the Tana North, Tana River, and Tana Delta districts. And you did tell us how you completed that work under your chair. However, what you didn't tell us is whether the report brought a lasting solution to the conflict that you are addressing. Maybe you can take an opportunity to tell us whether that conflict continues. The reason why I ask this is because the body that you ask to chair is one that needs to resolve perennial challenges, as you clearly stated in your opening remarks, and you are seeking to sit at its apex. Therefore, the country and the panel is looking at when you are given an opportunity to give a lasting solution. Did that solution come, or there are still clashes? And if you are given this job, what assurance do you give that sitting at the helm, not just as a commissioner like in the other one, you'll bring that sanity in our electoral process?
Thank you, Daktari, for that. I want to start by saying that we delivered our report to His Excellency the President. The President who had appointed us at the time we were delivering our report had already left office, and so we delivered to the new President, which was His Excellency Honorable Kenyatta. by the time we delivered the report, we looked at, there were 3 tiers of issues that we looked at from the Tana Commission. I think I can sum up as 3, but there may have been more. The first one was with respect to the ethnic clashes themselves, whether they met the threshold of genocide, or whether they met these variant thresholds of because there was displacement, there was murder, there was clear organization, there was all those things that fitted this billing. Then the next stage that we looked at were the perpetrators known. Fortunately, we had witnesses who testified before us, and from there we were able now to involve the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to act on them, and charges were preferred. In fact, from our report, we had a separate report on those to be charged from the recommendations of the Commission. And those who were charged, the cases were ongoing in both Garsen and Malindi High Courts. And in some instances, I think for those that occasioned gender-based violence, those who were charged before the Garsen Court, that was the first recommendation that we made. And I think in the other recommendation was about economic activity, because what were the triggers of this violence? The triggers, we noted the triggers were related to resource conflict. They were also triggered by just inter-ethnic clash. There were communities that had never remarried. They had never intermarried in that area since time immemorial. And in fact, they used to live separate. We will find this is a village of particular community. I don't want to name them, and this other community. Whether our report succeeded is you can see one of the efforts that we tried to look at was the land structure and tenure in Tana. And one of the those issues were resolved, I think, by placing some of the land into agricultural for purposes of ensuring feeding of the country. One of the achievements we can say from our report was when we said they could Tana River can actually feed this nation, and if it is possible for the land tenure system to be looked at fully, then it can work. As to whether it was implemented, the implementing authority was the executive. So I'm not sure, because I didn't follow up. I went back to my work immediately after that, but I should think that from my observation, there are some changes. Yet I see there are returns of there's return of some of this chaos, and from this that is why that's what actually pushed me to go and study international conflict management as a master's program, and actually to just be able to and that's what has taken a bit of time, because I'm also looking at myself as an informant in my own research paper. So I'm gathering that information for purposes of ensuring that this is protected and preserved, and for future purposes of enabling the commission, institutions such as the Commission, to see that there is an interrelationship between resources and election and electioneering malpractices.
Thank you. You told us that you have been in service 23 years and counting. If we were to make you chair, what would you like to be remembered for in the judicial service on your professional conduct? How would you, if you were to succeed and now you go to the Commission?
I think my colleagues on the bench I would like them to they would respect me. I would like to be remembered as a person who was respected by my colleagues and my peers. And I think that is sufficient for me, because that was a service and I needed to be respected. I think I am respected by majority of my colleagues on the bench, and I have cut out a career that has spanned all these years with service and honor.
Thank you, Chair.
Have you ever sought to be promoted to the higher court?
Yes.
And what experience have you had there?
I applied to be promoted to be a judge. I went through an interview. There was no complaint on my part. I went through a process of interview, but the selection was for the Judicial Service Commission to make. I was not one of those selected at the time. And I think that's all I can say. I was not selected at the time. I have applied once.
Thank you. FCPA, Tanui, kindly.
Thank you, Chair. Still on areas of leadership and integrity. Lorot, you've confirmed us that you are a serving Chief Magistrate.
Yes.
Thank you. Under 260, judges and magistrates are listed as state officers. In our advert that we did put, for which you did your application, we indicated that arising from Article 88.2, people who hold state office are not eligible for appointment. Being a judicial officer, what is your take? Thank you.
I noted that on the advert, and I also noted that there are instances where, because I'm serving state officer, I'm coming for an interview, I will resign from my position if the panel were to appoint me, and I think that is the position I took. I took precedence in what has happened before when I think the first instance of such a case was the late Nkaiseri being a member of Parliament and as a state officer was appointed as a cabinet secretary. It has happened before. Even now we have two. We have the former MP for Ugunja and the former MP for Gwasi, who are both state officers when they were members of Parliament, and they were selected to join the cabinet secretaries, to be cabinet secretaries, which are also state officers. So there is precedent that that I'm not just coming here because I'm a state officer. I'm coming here because I'm coming for a job interview for a state office. My take also on that is that it wishes to remove persons who are not. Let me just finish with what I just said earlier. Yes, I think there is precedent for me. What happened in the past.
Thank you very much. So you think there is no conflict between who you are and what you are seeking to do?
I do not think there's any conflict.
Okay, thank you. And you will be ready to resign, that's what you're saying?
Yes, I will be ready and willing to resign instantly, once confirmed.
Thank you. Professor Adams, do you have some other questions you'd like to ask?
Yeah, Bwana Lorot, you gave us a history that as a minor, you started becoming interested in elections, the Mlolongo, the famous or infamous Mlolongo in 1988. So I'll just ask you a general question because you seek to lead the IEBC, and therefore I believe you are very much aware of the electoral map of this country. How many constituencies are in Kiambu County?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I know there is Githunguri constituency, let me number them. There is Githunguri, there is Kiamba, there is Lare, there is the two Gatundus, Gatundu North and Gatundu South. I should think this would be it. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There should be about 8. If not, if maybe more, but these 8 I can remember them.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Koki, do you have a follow-up question?
No, Chair. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, and how many wards in Baringo, since that is home?
I'm from the lower part of Baringo. I'm from Mogotio, and I cannot hazard. I know that there are 3 wards in Mogotio constituency, but I cannot hazard the number of wards in the entire Baringo. But if we were to look at the 6 constituencies, then it should be something in the region of 20.
Okay, thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Lorot, when your career is back on, what would you like to be remembered for in terms of integrity and professional conduct?
Madam Kiome, I presented before the commission the finding of the vetting and judges and magistrate board, and because this was also an analysis of career up to and including that period, and if you look at from paragraph 32, I don't know where the document is, but if you look from paragraph 32 onward, see that by the time the vetting board was making a finding, it said that I am hardworking, I am forthright and honest, and I think that those will be the hallmarks of anyone who wants to be received in any career. And I think that's why I said it was a very humbling report. I actually asked my mother whether she can use the same terms on me, and because I'm her son, I will not reveal what she said, but I think it was very humbling. Thank you, Madam Kyo.
As a magistrate, I presume that you experience difficult and dilemmas, issues coming to you to rule and to make judgment. Some maybe those that appeal to your emotions and things like that. How are you able to separate yourself as Abdulqadir Lorot so that you are able to serve your clients impartially?
To be very honest, Mr. Chairman, it has taken time for that to evolve over a period. Because when I joined the judiciary, I was a fairly young man. I was unmarried. And then when you're married, and I think one of the incidences that took me by, I think, and I always remember, is when I worked in Gatundu Law Courts, and there was a minor, 2.5 years old, who could not testify because of age. And this was a defilement case of a minor boy. I had my son then was around the same age. And when the testimonies were coming, I could only reflect on my son. So the distinction between personal emotions, it takes time to grow out of it, because these are emotional issues. But I think I am fairly, I have fairly grown in emotional intelligence over my very many period of service, and I'm able now to distinguish between my own and the emotions of others, looking at my own weaknesses, where my weaknesses fall in terms of certain biases that I have as a person who grew up, for example, in conflict areas, because my grandparents came from Kapedo, and as we all know, Kapedo is a war zone. So having grown up in those, so when I see, for example, when I was new in the judiciary and I would see cases of people stealing stock theft, it would affect me much deeper than I think it would affect the next person. So over time, I have grown and been able to accept that these are the realities. And now, while I cannot they say that as judges, or magistrates, we are still human beings and products of our own society, products of our own biases. I am Muslim, for example, and there are certain tenets of Islam that may not be condonable. So I've been able to separate what are my own biases with what is before me. And this is possible to do, and I think that is the reason why I've been able to sustain myself in this position and grown from the position before over a period of time.
Thank you very much. Just checking with you whether you have been able to present to us your clearance certificates and all of them.
Yes, I have. I presented all the clearance certificates. In fact, there was someone to assist with all of them. There's a checklist actually that was prepared.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. You have responded to our questions. I would like to thank you for your time and to appreciate that you have taken judicial diligence in responding to our questions and preparing for this interview. I don't know whether you have any question for the panel. so that we could be able to engage.
I think I do not have a question, just to appreciate you, Mr. Chairman, and the panelists. First, for out of all the applicants for shortlisting me, it's not a mean feat. I come from a minority community who have not been recognized for a long time, and I think this is a first. Secondly, I think I want to appreciate the fact that you have been very kind and very kind to me, and this has been a dialogue as opposed to an interrogation. So I really appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, together with the panelists, and I wish you well in your ventures as you continue to interview the rest of my colleagues who will be up here before you, and I wish you grace.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that you spend time. There's a bottle of water there. You can pick it as you leave. The Secretariat will support you if you need a cup of tea so that you can travel back. Did you say Naivasha?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, please take our regards to the people in Naivasha. Please remember to pick your certificates so that you don't leave them with us. We appreciate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Asante.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, members of the press. Can I ask you to give us some time, if you don't mind, please? Yeah. You just leave your cameras, but so that you allow us to be able to. Yeah. Yes. Okay, they are disconnected. Yeah, but we'll be having the next person in another 40 or so minutes. Your cameras are safe so long as they are not...
Our relationships are not working.
Femicide. Ilikuwa tu vitu zinafanyika, mnanyamaza, zinafunikiwa.
Nobody deserves to be killed in the name of relationships that are voluntary. If you don't like me, just leave me alone.
Sisi kama wanaume pia kuna vile tunakuwa affected, but tunanyamazia juu machozi yetu ni ya ndani.
Today I feel like we are lifting the lid. We are lifting the shame. We are lifting the conspiracy of silence that men can actually talk.
Marriage is a journey.
Whoever can annoy you, they can control you. Don't allow a woman to annoy you. If she starts pulling you down, my brother, just walk out.
Wembley has not been a happy hunting ground for Newcastle, a club that has endured decades of disappointments. Before Sunday's Carabao Cup final, the Magpies had not won at the National Stadium since lifting the FA Cup in 1955, their last piece of major silverware. But for the first time in 70 years, Newcastle banished their Wembley demons to finally end the club's painfully long wait for a domestic trophy.
Shilingi 1000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh, rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes!
Mwenyezi Mungu atakufungulia hazina zake nzuri kutoka mbinguni na kubariki kazi za mikono yako. Utayakopesha mataifa mengi, lakini wewe hautakopa. Mungu atakufanya kuwa wa kwanza na sio wa mwisho. Hakika utaendelea mbele na sio kurudi nyuma.
Na Nation.
Are you curious about that dazzling look? How do you define beauty? And how to dress elegant, glitz, and glamorous. Is here to answer all those questions and show you what's popping and what's the latest in the beauty and lifestyle world, because you need it. Look your best and fall in love with Into the Glam, only on NTV.
Huko unampenda Norma hata ujali kama inamwafect vipi?
Kama kuna mtu ambaye namchukia ni huyo Norma.
Mpango wa kutibua hii harusi yako umefikia wapi?
Wewe na Norma ni nyoka tu.
Hii yote ilianza Norma alipomwonyesha kitu Madam Cecilia.
So, what other option do you have?
Norma. The truth is not governed. The truth governs our beliefs, our faith, the trust we give, the democracy we seek. When held back, it always breaks free. Seek the truth. Set yourself free. Subscribe to read online at epaper.nation.africa. Daily Nation, the truth unfiltered.
Hii mchezo ni kama mchezo kama ile ingine. Ukiwa utotoni kuna ile kitu natamani sana ufanye. Watu wanaweza fanya hii mchezo kama kazi. Na ni mchezo hata itaki space kubwa, hata kwa nyumba pia unaweza hang darts na ufanye mazoezi yako. Darts si mchezo wazi. Ni sahihi inachezwa mpaka na watoto wadogo.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Again, sitasumbuka as your skill tune. Dial star 812 star 832
Skiza na Nation.
Mahadhi ya kusisimua na yenye mvuto, kutoka mashinani hadi mijini.
Zaidi ya madaktari 200 wameweza kuanza mgomo wao rasmi.
Serikali ya kaunti inaendeleza miundombinu kuhakikisha kuwa maji inapatikana kwa urahisi.
Ni chimbuko la habari zinazokuhusu wewe.
Kupata ID, sisi tulikuwa kama aliens ambaye wamekuwa discriminated.
Michebebe is very nutritious, very chlorophyllous, very delicious, but less malicious.
Bila chuku, bila upendeleo. Taarifa halisi na asilia kutoka kwa wananchi kwa ajili ya wananchi.
Ndilo kero la taka ambao umeshuhudiwa katika mji huu wa matunda.
Kama serikali hawajachukua hiyo hatua, sisi wa Orma tutachukua hatua.
NTV Mashinani, kila siku ya wiki saa 12:30 jioni hadi saa 1 jioni.
Aladdin was started by Mr. Amit Bedi. We have 27 branches. Aladdin is a Kenyan-made brand. We deal with Kenyan-made products. We have our cargo pants, we have sweatpants, we have kids wear, we have ladies wear. In Kenya, Aladdin is an outstanding company that sells made in Kenya product. Let's meet at KICC SME Expo. See you there.
Ni kupanda na kushuka maisha tunayoishi, kulala na kurauka, kila kitu hakitoshi. Tunusuru ya rabuka, ujana ni moshi, maisha ni msumeno, hukata mbele na nyuma. Ina mtego tamaa kwenye maisha sasa.
To get maisha tunayoishi by Nuhu, dial star 812 804 hash.
Dunia kizaza pindi unapojitosa, maisha
Skiza, non-nation. There is no way you can ever allow Leonardo to confirm that you did not pay the $2 million. Do you understand? Because that would be the end. What do you think you're doing, Alma?
She's with my husband. She's taking him away from me.
Shh, take it easy.
The only thing I ask is that you consider something. That you consider changing your destiny.
You are the one.
For fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
This was murder. Hiyo mwili ilikuwa imekatakatwa. Kwanza nakumbukaga vidole ya left ine hakukuwa.
Akaongea kwa machozi. Sasa wakati kesi ilianza, akatoa tena ushahidi tofauti.
Wakamkamata, wakamkatakata. Mwenye mbuzi akasema ako na nguvu sana, kateni yeye mguu. Nilishtuka sana.
We were given a few minutes to send money. If we are not sending money, then her life will be taken away.
Sakiti yenye alikuwa nayo alikuja nayo hapa. Hizi tu hata kufika tu kwake ni ngumu.
Bari ameuawa wapi? Ameuawa aje?
Don't just start looking for the murderers from out there. Vile Waswahili wanasema kikulacho kiguoni mwako.
Reach your audience instantly and make a lasting impression with Nation Sema. Affordable bulk SMS at 0.3 Kenya shillings. Own sender ID for 10,000 Kenya shillings plus 10,000 free messages. To sign up, please call 0728434979 or email us on mkibunja@ke.nationmedia.com.
We started as a trading company, then we went to the real estate world, and Maash is coming as a redefining the urban living.
We have the home buyer, we have the investor who's looking for passive income through rental income, and we have that buyer who's looking for a second or third home.
Yes, we have apartments in Kilimani, in Parklands. We have a new project coming up, which are luxury villas. So you see, sometimes a client can actually change their mind or change their perspective.
You're coming back home. You want to create a legacy for yourself. You want to have passive income. Instead of keeping that money in a foreign bank account, a savings, it's better to just come and earn a higher rental income here if you were to doing a buy-to-let.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.